Hi, I'm Dr. Jen from the Tummy Clinic.
Hi, I'm Dr. Tracey.
Today we're going to be talking about the microbiome and that gut to brain connection. So Tracey, can you tell us a little bit? We know that there's an information highway going back and forth from the brain to the gut and then vice versa, the gut back to the brain. Can you tell us a little bit about that system and how it might affect our microbiome?
Yeah, so in IBS, we know that it is a disorder of the gut to brain communication system. So what we mean when we say that is we have our vagus nerve. It's a bilateral nerve, so it runs on both sides of the body. It starts in the emotional centers of the brain and it runs down all the way and ends in what we call the enteric nervous system, or the gut communication system, the gut brain. So there are messages flying back and forth all day long. And the microbiome, as we're learning now for the last decade, is playing a role in this as well. So in IBS, our understanding is that we have a dysbiotic microbiome. So what that means is that, we have more weeds in our ecosystem. We want a nice, lush rainforest, and we've got way too many weeds that aren't really helping us in terms of the balance that needs to be there for a healthy ecosystem.
Okay, so if you were envisioning your gut like a garden, then there may be more weeds in your garden than tulips and cucumbers or whatever you're planting that day. Right?
Yeah. We want diversity.
Yeah.
So, all of the, smart people who decide, what our gut microbiome should look like have decided that the healthiest gut microbiomes are those that have the most amount of diversity.
Okay, so we don't want just one plant in our garden.
Correct.
We want multiple plants.
Yeah, I like the pine tree forest analogy. So, if you only have a pine tree forest and the pine beetle comes in, not a great scenario, right? But if the pine beetle came into a nice, luscious rainforest, not going to disrupt it too much, right? There's things that are going to play. So that's what we're dealing with when we're dealing with the dysbiotic microbiome. And why that's important is because everything that we eat, our gut microbiome eats, and it makes chemicals.
Okay.
And these chemical messages are playing a role in this flying back and forth of the gut to brain communication system.
So with that, in that case then, so if we have these communications going back and forth, is that going to influence our stress levels, our mood, etc.?
Yeah. So what we're noticing in IBS is that we have increased stress perception, right? So, our spidey sense is up, sensing stress more than somebody who doesn't have IBS. We also know that there's an imbalance between our fight or flight and rest and digest. So we spend more time in fight or flight than we do in rest and digest, which can lead to this dysmotility, or things flowing through the digestive system not as smoothly as they should.
Oh, so if things are not moving as smoothly, we have this increased stress perception. How is that going to affect our intestinal lumen?
Yeah, so what we know about the intestinal lumen, and this is, again, we're just starting to learn this information, but when we're in fight or flight, we secrete chemicals. One of them is noradrenaline. And noradrenaline will come flooding into the gastrointestinal tract and disrupt motility, put us into that fight or flight state, right? We also are learning that it is not good for our gut microbiome, right? So all these stress hormones, are impacting the gut microbiome, which is impacting our gut to brain communication system, right? So it's like this interplay between the emotional centers of the brain, the gut enteric nervous system, and the gut microbiome.
Yeah, so this is just one of the elements at the Tummy Clinic that we're looking at when supporting people with irritable bowel syndrome. So I find that, the research does say that about 70% of people will respond to some of those dietary modifications, but we also have this gut to brain connection that's playing a big role for a lot of people as well.
Yeah, and we shouldn't forget that this visceral hypersensitivity that in IBS we suffer from, meaning that our gut brain feels things more, right? So it is in this hypersensitive state.
Okay.
And so when we're looking at, how food is moving through the tube, if there's more gas, if there's constipation, these things are going to increase and irritate the hypersensitivity even more.
Yeah, so you're going to feel that stretch.
That's right.
Sooner than somebody else.
That's correct. Yeah.
All right. So if somebody's looking for help with irritable bowel syndrome, you can reach out to us at thetummyclinic.ca or give us a ring, 1-888-900-6063.